Hey, this is Daryl again. Welcome back. And if you're new, welcome. Today we're going to tie up a variation of a woolly bugger called the chili pepper. Um, and we're going to do some unusual things with that. So why don't we go ahead and we'll take a look at the fly. I'll explain the materials as we tie along. And the materials will also be down in the description of the video. All right, let's get going.
Okay, this here's the chili pepper that we're going to tie. And you might notice that we even painted an eye on the bead on there. Hopefully I can do a better job on the next one, and we'll get going and tying this. Alright, the hook I'm going to use is a Kona Nymph streamer 3XL in a size 10. And I'm going to go ahead and debarb that. And then we're going to put a bead on there, and the bead I'm going to use is these heavy metal nymph heads in a size 4.0 millimeter. And what's neat about these heads is they've got like two dimples on, not dimples, probably nipples, or they got like eyes that protrude out on there. And I don't know if I can show them to you. I'll get it on the hook and I'll see if I can show that. I don't know if it'll even cooperate. You might be able to see that right about there. So if you kind of look right there, there's like a little nipple hanging down right there. So that's kind of cool, and that's about where we're going to try to paint our eyes on that. On there. And then I'm going to use some, add a little weight, some lead-free wire in 0.015. And I'm going to put about 20 wraps. 20. And we'll break that off. And I got a little bit left to do a couple more. And I'm trying to make sure that my eyes are right there. And I don't know if you can see that. Right, so I got my eyes positioned right. You can see that. That's probably one of the drawbacks of these beads if you wanted to paint those eyes on there. And then we're gonna darn, I broke my thread. All right, let's try it again. Take that right above where the barb used to be. Trim off the tag end. And we'll kind of lock in our lead weight and make sure it's got a taper there. Did it again. Well, it's next we're going to do is use some Marabou burnt orange in there. I'm going to wet it down so it's manageable. And I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it just about the hook shank, or maybe a little less. Don't want a big tail on here. Probably makes it a little different. And then we'll just wrap this up to the, locking it in at the, just behind the lead wire so it's got a smooth body. And if you wanted to, you could have just took pieces off of that and maybe made two flies off of it. And we're going to use some copper crystal flash. And we're going to just grab 2 strands. And I'm going to divide those in half. I don't need a full length one for that. I can use it on both sides. I'm going to put 2 strands. It actually makes 4 strands on each side. And we're going to go ahead and just lock in on that side. And pick up the other 2 pieces. And we're going to tie those, fold those over on my side. And we're just going to trim those just a shade longer than the tail. And then we're going to do is we're going to add in a hackle. And normally the chili pepper is tied with a brown hackle, but I'm gonna use some golden badger because I think it looks kind of cool. It starts kind of light at the back end, and then it gets darker as it goes forward. So that's kind of cool, I think. That's my little variation on there. And I'm going to go ahead and clean some of these up. Get rid of the fluff. And then I'm going to tie it in by the tip. Right here. And then I'm going to put the body. And for the body, I'm going to use some copper Estes, crystal flash, whatever it is. Not crystal flash, but Estes or cactus chenille. And I'm going to clean off, so I got a bare cord, so I'm not building up too much body here. And then I'm going to take it up to the bead, and I'm going to wrap this to cover that up. This is my body. This would be a great fly for maybe brim, some bass, trout. tie that off. And before I go any further, I'm going to check my eyes just to make sure I've got those eyes where I want them. And they look like they're still in their spot. Yeah, maybe not twist it a little bit. Yeah, that's better. And then we're going to spiral wrap this. And kind of fold our fibers back. And I like, normally on my woolly buggers, I like to give it one full wrap in the back and then spiral wrap going forward. And, you know, occasionally pruning these back a little bit. And I think that looks kind of cool. I don't know what you think, but that lighter color hackle, and then it gets darker as I go up on there. And then on this chili pepper, you don't want to really tie up with the hackle. You want to kind of bare bone it right there, bare stem it. Because then that's going to give you a chance to expose that hot spot, keeping that hot spot open. And I don't know if you can start seeing that hot spot forming right there. Because that is part of the fly. Unlike on your normal, regular did it again. Yeah. All right, let's get back to this. And we got our orange spot. We'll do a quick wick finish. And apply a little head cement to the threads. Don't know what happened there. But we're going to go ahead and just cut that off. And apply it the old-fashioned way. All right, then we'll let that dry for a minute before I go to the next step. All right, next we're going to do is we're going to use some fabric paint. In this case, it's Scribbles in Christmas red for the eyeballs. You know, you might want to shake it up a little bit. I'm going to position my fly this way. Yeah, fabric cement, who would have thought? But let's give it a try. We'll do the other side. All right. Now we have to let that dry. Believe it or not, according to the thing, it says 4 hours. So we're not going to wait that long. I've got another one prepared. I'm going to go put this in my Nymphy little holder over here. And on here I'm going to use some fabric cement in black. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on a I thought I had a piece of paper. Yeah, a piece of paper. And I'm going to use my bodkin to put it on. And there's one. And two. And then we'll let that dry for 4 hours, but we're not going to wait that long. I'm just going to go ahead and take it off. I've got one that's already kind of prepped, but maybe not as pretty as that one. And then to protect that, we're just going to use either Sally Hansen's or your normal head cement and just paint. Brush this on over the bead. Like that. And there you have it. We'll let that dry, but we're done with it. That's the chili pepper on there. You could probably use little paint markers or maybe even a magic marker, but I thought I would try something different and see how that worked. All right.
Well, I hope you found that interesting. Something new for me, trying this fabric paint. I've tried the marker fabric paints before all this, but I wasn't happy with the results I was getting, but this is much better of a result. Those little markers that look like a Copic or a Sharpie or something like that with fabric cement or paint just didn't seem to work right for me. But I don't know. Maybe it'll work for you if you want to try that. So hope you give it a try. Hopefully you'll catch some fish with it. And hey, we'll see you on the water. I'm out. We'll get going fishing.